A wallet can be emptied without a password being stolen. The victim may never reveal a private key, enter a recovery phrase, or approve an obvious transfer. Instead, one routine-looking signature can give a malicious smart contract permission to move tokens later. On Ethereum, that hidden authority is the mechanism wallet drainers exploit, turning a moment of trust into an irreversible financial loss. A crypto wallet is software or hardware that controls blockchain accounts through cryptographic keys. It does not hold coins in a physical container. It holds the authority to interact with assets recorded on a network such as Ethereum. That distinction matters. When a user connects a wallet to an NFT website, the connection alone usually does not transfer anything. The danger begins when a website persuades the user to sign a message or submit a transaction. The lure is often familiar: an NFT mint, a giveaway, a reward claim, or a verification request promoted through Discord. A phishing attack is a deceptive message or website designed to capture trust or sensitive information. Smishing delivers that deception by text message, while vishing uses a fraudulent voice call. In crypto scams, the goal may not be a password. It may be getting the victim to authorize code they cannot interpret. That is social engineering, manipulating a person's emotions and decisions rather than defeating the underlying technology. Scarcity, urgency, celebrity endorsements, and claims of exclusive access compress the victim's time to think. A deepfake, meaning AI-generated audio or video that imitates a real person, can make a promotion appear authentic. The technology changes, but the pressure remains recognizable. Act immediately, before the opportunity disappears. The most important distinction is between connecting, signing, and granting spending authority. Connecting lets a site read limited public information and request actions. Signing a simple message can prove control of an address without sending a blockchain transaction. But a signature can also authorize a structured permission, such as a token approval or a permit. The wallet window may display a technical request, while the user sees only a reassuring button. An Ethereum token generally follows rules in a smart contract. For many tokens, the owner can approve another address to spend a specified amount on the owner's behalf. That allowance is useful for exchanges and applications because a contract can transfer tokens without asking for a new approval every time. A malicious contract abuses the same feature. Once approval exists, the drainer may call the token contract and move eligible assets from the victim's address. The approval may involve an ERC20 token, such as a fungible asset or an NFT collection. For NFTs, a setting commonly called Set Approval for All can authorize an operator to manage every token in a collection. That is dramatically broader than approving one item. A user expecting to claim a single digital collectible may unknowingly authorize control over valuable NFTs already held in the wallet. The criminal does not necessarily need to act immediately. The approval can sit unnoticed while the victim continues using the wallet. Later, automated software watches for valuable balances, identifies addresses with open allowances, and submits transfers. This timing creates confusion. The victim may blame an exchange, a copied address, or a hacked device when the decisive event happened earlier through a permission that looked unrelated. A private key theft is different. In that case, the attacker obtains the secret that controls the wallet and can generally sign transactions as the owner. An approval exploit leaves the private key intact, but misuses authority the owner granted to a contract or operator. That difference affects the response. Changing a password does not cancel an on-chain allowance, and moving funds without revoking permissions can leave assets exposed. The business model became more industrialized. Inferno Drainer emerged as a prominent drainer-as-a-service operation from 2022 into 2023. That model separated the people building theft infrastructure from the people recruiting victims. Criminal customers could use ready-made pages, transaction flows, and automated extraction, while the service took a share of stolen assets. Fraud became less dependent on one highly technical operator and more like a distributed business. That structure also explains the constant churn of NFT websites and Discord promotions. A copied brand, a newly registered domain, and a temporary community announcement can be assembled faster than victims or platforms can respond. The page may imitate a legitimate project closely, including artwork and branding, while routing wallet activity to an attacker-controlled contract. The surface changes quickly, but the authorization pattern remains stable. For a person caught in that pattern, the experience is uniquely disorienting. The wallet may show a successful mint, a failed claim, or no visible result at all. Minutes later, tokens or NFTs begin leaving the address. Blockchain records expose the transfers, but they do not restore the property. A confirmed transaction is usually final, and the emotional shock often arrives before the victim understands which earlier signature created the opening. The interface is part of the attack. Wallet software attempts to describe contract requests, but complex data can be difficult to interpret, especially when websites present a friendly explanation beside a technical prompt. A transaction that appears to claim an NFT may contain an approval hidden among other instructions. A signature that costs no gas may still carry dangerous authority when it represents a permit or another structured authorization. Gas fees create another psychological trap. Users may assume that no fee means no risk, or that a failed transaction means nothing happened. Neither assumption is safe. A message can be valid without an immediate payment, and an approval can remain active after a website reports an error. The absence of a dramatic warning is not evidence that the permission was harmless. Multi-factor authentication, or MFA, requires more than one form of verification, such as a password plus a code or security key. MFA is valuable for exchanges, email, and social accounts, but it cannot automatically stop a user from approving a malicious contract in their own wallet. This is not a failure of MFA. It is a different threat model. The attacker is abusing an authorized blockchain action. The blockchain does leave a trail. Investigators can examine the approval transaction, identify the spender address, follow token movements, and map funds across related addresses. That transparency can support attribution and recovery efforts, but tracing is not the same as reversal. The public record may reveal exactly what happened while providing no central authority capable of pressing an undo button. The trail also gives careful users a way to audit exposure. Approval management tools can show which contracts have permission to spend tokens. The safest route is to reach those tools through known, official sources, rather than links in a suspicious message. Review the network, token, spender address, and allowance. A familiar project name is not proof that the contract address is legitimate. If a malicious approval is suspected, stop interacting with the questionable website. Use a trusted approval revocation tool and remove allowances you do not recognize. Revocation itself is an on-chain transaction, so it requires attention to the correct network and enough native currency for the fee. If valuable assets remain, consider transferring them to a fresh wallet after assessing the risk. Do not assume a hardware wallet alone makes the original address safe. A hardware wallet protects private keys from many forms of device compromise, but it still displays and signs actions requested by the user. If the user confirms a malicious approval, the hardware device may faithfully authorize it. Its value is substantial, especially for key protection, yet it is not a substitute for reading the request, checking the contract, and limiting permissions wherever possible. Prevention begins before the wallet prompt appears. Treat unsolicited mints, rewards, and verification requests as untrusted, especially when they arrive through Discord, direct messages, or shortened links. Navigate independently to a project's established site. Verify the contract address through more than one reliable channel. Separate high-value holdings from experimental activity, and use a limited wallet for unfamiliar applications. The strongest defense is permission discipline. Avoid unlimited approvals when a smaller allowance is sufficient. Recheck approvals periodically, including those created months earlier. Read whether the request is a transfer, an approval, an operator authorization, or a permit. If the wording is unclear, decline and investigate outside the site. A moment of hesitation is cheaper than granting a stranger standing access to your assets. Scammers also exploit identity and reputation. A compromised Discord account can post a convincing promotion, while a stolen social profile can make a fraudulent link seem endorsed by someone familiar. Phishing, smishing, and vishing may all be used to steer a target toward the same wallet trap. Never treat a message as trustworthy merely because it arrived from a known account or contains polished language. The broader lesson reaches beyond Ethereum. Smart contracts are powerful because they automate agreements, but automation magnifies the consequences of permissions. Traditional fraud often asks for money directly. Wallet draining can ask for a signature that appears procedural, then let code perform the extraction later. The victim is not foolish for missing an opaque technical detail. The system presents a high-consequence decision in a format many people cannot realistically decode. That is why rapid reporting still matters, even when transactions cannot simply be reversed. Preserve suspicious URLs, wallet prompts, transaction hashes, contract addresses, and messages. Notify the affected platform, exchange, wallet provider, and appropriate authorities. Do not pay anyone who promises guaranteed recovery in exchange for an upfront fee. Victims of one crypto theft are frequently targeted by a second recovery scam. A safer habit is to treat every signature as a financial decision, not a routine click. Ask what authority is being granted, to which address, over which assets, and for how long. If the answer is unavailable, stop. Confirming a connection is not confirming a transfer, but confirming an approval can create a path to one. The difference deserves the same attention as a bank transfer. Wallet drainers succeed by hiding a durable permission inside a temporary moment of excitement. Inferno Drainer demonstrated how organized that process could become, but the underlying weakness is broader than any one operation. Awareness turns the hidden mechanism into a visible choice. Verify independently, minimize allowances, audit permissions, protect recovery credentials, and remember that on Ethereum, the safest transaction is often the one you refuse to sign.